Before this video starts, I'd just like to make an announcement. I have the Liberal Tears mug for $14.99 on my website. It is the first link in the description if you want to go pick one up. Don't worry if it breaks when it comes to your house. I'll send you another one for free out of my pocket. I don't care. I want you to get your Liberal Tear mug. It comes in Liberal Tears white with the face, black with the face, white without the face, and black without the face. So pick whichever one you want, and it'll come to your door in about 3 to 5 days. So that should be epic. First link in the description. Thank you. Let's go on with the video.
You have a lot of people pointing at you, so let's do it. Yeah, don't be proud of that hat. Just stand up and ask your question. I knew we'd get a fedora. What do you call it? Fedora here? You call it fedora. Yeah, come on.
Thank you for your kind words.
You're welcome.
Also, thank you for coming to the university and sharing your thoughts.
Where are you from?
I'm from
Midlands
Worcester,
or
just south of Birmingham.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do disagree with some of the ways that you characterize the UK,
That's
and
okay.
Germany for that matter, where I was living before here, but that's not what I want to focus my question on. I teach here at the university. I'm a PhD student in philosophy, and I do critical thinking. And with my class this week, we addressed the issue of kind of this post-truth politics and what that might entail and whether it's there. And at the same time, the question of free speech. Now, I entirely agree with you that free speech is important in our society, and I think everybody in this room agrees with that by virtue of being here. I actually sit on the left of the political spectrum, and am here because I believe that part of free speech is also the ability to listen, and I think that's very important.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thank you. The angry young lady up here could learn a thing or two. Perhaps you should enroll for your classes.
Now, given that, my first question, which I'll probably want to follow up on,
All right.
is do you think there has been let's say, an issue with free speech and truth over the last year? I mean, Oxford said, it's the word of the year, it's kind of the most recent popular word, and whether truth is important in politics anymore.
This might be my fault, because I was talking to Bloomberg Businessweek, who did this big profile on me ages ago. And it's okay, he's all right. Bloomberg Businessweek did this big profile on me ages ago, and I dropped into discussion in the course of like 2 days, this phrase, post-truth era. And what I meant by it, what I was trying to say, was the facts are no longer enough. You have to also be persuasive and charming and funny and all the rest of it. That's what I meant by post-truth, post-fact era, whichever it was that they picked up. And then it sort of went gangbusters after that. Certainly there seem to be two emerging sets of truths in America, and they're split fairly evenly down political lines, aren't they? And it's quite disturbing in some ways to sort of see the different versions of the universe described by, let's say, the New York Times and Breitbart, for instance. I do think that there's been a problem with truth, but I'm unconvinced that it is the conservative or libertarian side of the argument that has the problem. I think that the conspiratorial mythologizing about campus rape culture and the wage gap, the imperviousness to reason and fact that the progressive left has demonstrated over the last 30 years, is far more of a risk to democracy and to the pursuit of truth than anything that Trump has done in the last year. I think that, race baiting, mixing up statistics, selectively quoting statistics, lying about individual cases, and misreporting for ideological reasons around Black Lives Matter, the police, and race, has done far more damage to America than Donald Trump sort of vacillating on various things. So I think there's been a sort of bifurcation in Americans and the sort of news sources, the people they trust and where they get their news from, which is ultimately not going to be particularly helpful for the pursuit of truth or for democracy. But I think it's still, it's fake news is still primarily perpetrated by the left.
Given that, may I ask a couple of questions to you?
Why don't you do one, because then somebody else can have a chance.
Yeah,
So
no,
pick your
absolutely.
best one. Pick your best one, and then I'll move on to someone else.
Whilst I don't want to disagree that the left also reports on fake news and focuses on certain statistics and not others, which is why I attempt to read everything in a world that's increasingly impossible to do that.
It puts you in the minority on your side of the political divide, so you must get some fair credit for that.
Focusing, I guess, on your paper that you work for. Now, if the CIA came to us and said, and I do want to pose this to everybody in the room, and I'm more than open for a different interpretation. But if the CIA came to us and they said 97% of us agree that ISIS has developed a weapon that could wipe out, you know, vast portions of America and destabilize our ecosystem for the next generations to come, would we want to do something about that? And you know what I'm getting at with this question?
Is this climate change?
Precisely.
Right.
So we have 97%
no,
of the
be
scientific
nice.
community.
Be nice.
So,
be nice.
yeah.
I'm perfectly happy
And
to...
I would love to hear your response on this. You know,
Fine.
I believe in a political
Well,
spectrum, we can have this.
fine,
but when
fine.
97% of scientists say this,
okay.
and then the Trump administration removes any question of climate change from the website, and says that that's not an issue they want to address for the future, you know,
Well,
I can say there are
okay.
different political issues that
I understand the
ways
question.
of solving it.
I understand the question.
That they can do
I
that. But if
understand.
they erase that discussion, I get really worried for even having a family in the future. And I'd love to hear your response. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I don't have a problem with the Trump administration focusing away from environmental issues about which the United States can do nothing compared to China, and towards things like trade and immigration, focusing on things that matter rather than identity politics. So I was very happy to see the gay bit of the White House website disappear. We're doing fine. We're doing fine. Like, focus on stuff that actually matters. Like, help the rest of the country fix the fucking economy, you know, and make sure that people can be, do, and say whatever they want. So I wasn't worried about seeing climate change disappear, because there's not a huge amount that America can really do about it with China and India anyway. As to your question, you're sort of invoking a lot of authorities there. So if the CIA said that 97%, well, you hit upon something interesting. I saw a video of somebody I wouldn't expect to agree with under normal circumstances, of Glenn Greenwald on the BBC, sort of completely confounding this reporter by saying, yes, intelligence agencies have bias. Intelligence agencies sometimes go on political crusades. Intelligence agencies sometimes lie. Shocking, I know. And I think we have this habit, and it's increasingly, I think, a good thing that we're breaking out of this habit of just believing what people tell us if they hold particular positions, and we don't dig any deeper. Well, I worked for a climate change NGO in Germany for over a year. And I was there when the IPCC reports were being drafted. I was there in Bali for Al Gore's speech. Saw him land in his private jet with his retinue of 7 I think they were Tahoes. Were they Tahoes? Maybe they were Suburbans. 7 of them, you know, green-fingered Al Gore. I was there for all of that. And I saw the level of politics over science that actually goes on. And I was in the room with scientists who gerrymandered numbers to fit political agendas. And I have to tell you, if 97% of any group tells me that something is the case, that makes me deeply suspicious. Because 97% is way too many. No issue is agreed upon by 97% of people. Nothing. Not elections, nothing. When 97... All right, well, let's say contentious hypotheses or, you know, matters for discussion, sure, okay. But when something like climate change, which is in no sense settled, 97% of scientists is actually a cause for suspicion and alarm for me. And indeed, we know from University of East Anglia and all kinds of other things, just how many obfuscations and manipulations have been made in climate data. The problem is that your side, if I can put it like that, made a PR error in selling climate change to people. You were hysterical about it. It was like a religion. And, well, it's like the problem is that when you're so hysterical, and when you punish people for disagreeing, and this is where the free speech element comes in, when you ridicule and punish people for stepping outside of the progressive orthodoxy, when you turn people into laughingstocks or cost them their jobs because they don't agree with you about something, you start to lose sympathy. That's what the progressive left... And that actually is a characteristic, a classic characteristic of all the groups I hate. Black Lives Matter do it. Feminists do it. In fact, feminists have lost. You know, fewer than 1 in 5 American women now call themselves a feminist. Why? Because they're such cunts. Not because most women don't want to get into the statistics about campus rape. They don't care. But they just know that they don't want to be like those feminists, because they quite like a boyfriend one day and ugh. So, you know, the problem is you goofed up trying to sell this to the public because you bullied them instead of persuading them. And the situation now is that people simply don't believe the established authorities that are supposed to be there to tell us things. And that situation has replicated itself across society. And that, I think, is a more interesting way of looking at sort of post-truth, post-fact societies. That breakdown of trust and belief in authority structures. That is the fault of no one but those authority structures themselves. Politicians have fucked themselves. The media has fucked itself. Higher education has fucked itself. And scientists have fucked themselves. The only people who believe scientists uncritically now are left-wing journalists. That's a real problem. And I can tell you... you were quick to invoke your own life experience, you know, living in Germany, coming from England, and disagreeing with my characterizations. Well, I can tell you from working in a climate change NGO, I don't trust those cunts as far as I can throw them.
So are you ladies feminists?
I suppose you could say that, yeah.
And so what makes you guys empowered?
Access to resources to actually make choices about my bodily autonomy and maintain my bodily
So
autonomy.
like not shaving your armpits, is that empowering you?
I don't like to shave my armpits, so I don't.
That's it.
Yes, it's empowering to be able to make it.
Yeah.
So is there anything
Hair empowering for you?
is there anything feminine about having your hair in your armpits?
I get to define what femininity is for me because I grew these breasts and I have this uterus and I made my child with it.
And you bored your child with it though, don't you?
What was that?
You were over here saying you're pro-abortion though.
I am. I'm pro-choice. I'm pretty sure to make decisions for themselves, and that's what empowerment is.
I'm pretty sure you're allowed to be pro-choice and have children.
You can also make a choice not to have sex.
So could you.
Yeah.
Don't reproduce. Then you won't have horrible children with your opinion.
I already have children and they're
So
awesome.
do I. And so is she.
You can't ask them those types of questions because they're in a state of healing. So you cannot ask them those types of questions. You gotta ask them questions that's relevant. You feel what I'm saying? Because they're in a state of healing. That's why they out of the problem.
I can ask them whatever questions I
You can, but make sure you get what you're looking for though.
Just like when you can ask whatever you want.
Right. Make sure you get what you're looking for.
Stand up, fight back.
You ain't getting sucker punched in the face. But
Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back.
Who's university? Who's university? Keep walking. Say no more. Who's university? Who's university?
Oh, I gotta get this.
If you are allowed to express, I am allowed to express.
Why is Trump a white supremacist? Just give me one example. Why is he racist? One example. That's all I need.
I don't even need to say anything to you.
Oh, I love it. Because I'm a white male.
The fact that you can't answer those questions means you're not paying attention.
But what does the fact that you can't answer the questions mean?
Do I need to refer to the fact that he calls all Mexicans rapists?
He never called them.
He didn't. Right. He did not.
He did not.
He did
Some
not.
of them, he assumed.
Check your facts, man. He did
not.
Am I allowed to speak, or are you just responding to my point?
I am responding to your
point.
Bro, I'm like...
I don't understand the cameras.
You don't understand
like,
many
you're
things.
trying to find...
Come on, how is Trump racist? Just name one thing. Just name one thing he actually said or did. Just one evidence.
We all realize that no matter what I say, you're going to try and turn it into something.
Please answer. Please answer
You're not
the question.
even letting me talk. You're talking over me.
Please answer the question. Why is Trump a racist? Specific reasons.
Donald Trump is a symbol of what is wrong with this country. Donald Trump is a white male who has inherited privilege that he cannot even, take a...
He's a fucking white male!
I thought you were going to say a specific reason of when Trump has been racist. That's what we asked. not that he's what's wrong with America. We
I
want
think he's what's
specific
right with
reasons.
So you don't think building a wall in between America and Mexico is racist?
Whether have a border or we don't.
Borders, sir. Every country has borders.
Walls are not racist. They're not semi-permeable depending on race. They
And
stop
every
border has a vested interest in protecting its national security. Undocumented people are not a race.
Let's talk about other countries that have walls in between themselves.
Like Mexico, where if you come from South America, they deport your house.
Yep.
Are they racist against South Americans, or do they, like, you know, they have vested interest in protecting their national security?
I am not denying that y'all have knowledge of what happens at borders.
I'm not denying you do. But just to start the dialogue by calling us white supremacists, especially since a lot of us are Mexican, like it just doesn't create a conversation, right? You want to like have a dialogue.
The Donald Trump campaign is overly aggressive, and the fact that y'all are here representing it is why.
Hold on. I have to object because this young man wore a Donald Trump hat and got spit on, shoved, physically assaulted. Has there been cases of people assaulting Bernie supporters on this campus? We have one that's been reported. Has there been reports of Bernie supporters getting...
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, yes, it's horrible what happened to you. I was overly aggressive to start this. I think it's undeniable that we have started a dialogue.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
What happened to you is not okay. My point about how Donald Trump's campaign is overly aggressive and represents a lot of things that are wrong with this country is why people are acting like that towards you. It's not okay that they're doing it. It's not okay that I started this dialogue by yelling at y'all, but there are emotions nationwide involved in this.
Can you name one of the things about American society that Donald Trump represents? Because you say he represents the worst in culture. Can you put a name to just one of those
What
things?
would you say Bernie Sanders' #1 point is?
No, hold on, that wasn't the question. No, that wasn't the question. No.
But I'm answering his question.
Okay, Bernie Sanders' #1.
Hello everyone! Hey, I'm just stopping by to remind you that liberals are insane! Social justice warriors are becoming more violent and triggered than ever before. Anyways, be sure to subscribe to KGP TV on YouTube and have a blessed day.